Hi there, everyone. Today it's a great pleasure for me to introduce Katrina Denholm. Katrina is a director at Katrina Denholm Architect, which is a practice outside Aberdeen that works across the northeast. And Katrina is also on RIAS's planning committee. And as such, it's great to hear from you in our RIAS Voices. Hi.
Hi.
We've got a standard set of questions, Katrina. I'll try not to move too far away from them. But obviously there's a bit of flow here. But the first one is, why did you become an architect?
An architect was never part of a big life plan for me. It was more of an accident. I've always loved drawing and designing, and my Santa lists are always asking for some sort of pens or colouring pencils. But I never had that burning ambition to be an architect. I applied for Scots Island School of Architecture on an absolute whim to avoid doing a 6th year at school in Peterhead Academy. It was very last minute, and I honestly didn't expect much. And then I got in, and that was the start of it. And here we are, more than 25 years later, and I still sometimes have a wee chuckle at how much of a spur of the moment decision has impacted my life.
It's fantastic to hear that, actually, because, you know, it's obviously been the right choice, but it was a bit of happenstance. That's great. And why do you think being an architect or our work really matters?
Because it's more than just putting up buildings. It's at its core, it's about making the spaces where people are kind of like people live, work, and thrive, and spaces where life happens. So it connects us with our environment and our surroundings and where people meet. You know that feeling when you walk into a space and it just feels right. That's design at work, and most people didn't even realise that. Like, good designs can bring communities together. It can protect our heritage. It can help us be good stewards for the future. And it's about finding that balance in architecture, making that spaces that are beautiful and work well while doing everything else. And I think as architects, we're uniquely placed to do that.
Yeah, it's that sort of responsibility, but it's also opportunity. And I think, it's a great mix. But equally, as you mentioned, there's always more and more being pushed on us as well, which is the challenge. Yeah. What gives you, I mean, in many ways, you've obviously almost said what the pleasure is, but what gives you most pleasure in your day to day?
I love when I go back to a project when it's complete and it's being properly lived in. Like that's when it feels real. When you walk into a house and it's not about the perfect photos, it's about the coffee cups on the sideboard, the kids' jigsaws on the table, the dog curled up in the corner. And when you know you've made a space that works for people, like you've listened to their needs, you've worked through the project with them, helped them come up with a solution. And I just think that's such a great privilege to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think the way you're speaking sounds like the kind of thing we should be getting students to hear, actually, because it's not always what you get at careers fairs.
No.
It's that personal, connection as well with people's lives. And what particular thing have you been involved in that's made you most proud?
Well, that's a hard question, Karen. So I think I'm honestly proud of all my projects, big or small, because they all mean something different and they've all been a different journey. Something as simple as taking in a wall, completely like changing how a family uses a house, to renovations, extensions, new builds. They've all got their own story, and that's what I love about them. Like, each project feels a bit like a baby. Like, you put so much work into it, you work closely with a client, you sketch out the ideas, you problem solve along the way, you see it kind of grow and come together on site. And then by the time you hand it over, it's hard to let go because you've invested so much of yourself in every project. So I think it'd be hard to pick just one. I think I'm proud of them all.
Good answer. And also good from the perspective of any clients listening in case you picked one out. And more sort of generally, what's your favourite place or town or building?
My favourite building is Falling Water by Frank Lloyd Wright. I
Right.
think I've read every book in it. I've even got the Lego set. And for my big birthday a couple of years ago, I managed to convince my family to make a 4-hour drive from Washington to Mill Run to visit it, to do the enhanced architectural tour. And it was absolutely amazing. Like a proper bucket list architectural geek moment. just seeing how it blends into the landscape, just standing there. Honestly, it was one of that moments where you just stand there and you're like, wow, I'm actually here. I will say my family were very tolerant of the enhanced architectural tour, but then they get dragged around buildings and holidays anyway, so it's fine.
It was just a super drag. And just on a more serious note, what do you think the biggest challenge the profession is facing at the moment?
So I think there's two. The first is, as I've said before, the sheer number of hats we've got to wear, where you've got to be technical experts, environmental stewards, health and safety advisors, procurement experts, financial managers, while also still trying to be creative and doing what you want, what you signed up to do originally, just to kind of draw and design spaces, and actually making money at the same time as a business. And balancing that can be really, really tough, I think, particularly as a sole practitioner. But I think, again, we're in a great position as architects to do that. It's just, we just kind of keep getting more and more hats. And then the other challenge is one that's a bit close to my heart, and that's being a working mum in architecture. Because I know how firsthand how hard it can be to juggle deadlines with school runs, swimming lessons, school holidays, site visits. And there's many times I've wondered if it's sustainable. I've seen so many good women leave the profession because they've lost, not because they've lost their passion, but because the industry isn't really equipped for supporting them the best. And that's why, like, I feel that so strongly about trying to support and show that it is possible to do both, and helping other kind of mums and young women architects stay in the profession, so they don't have to choose between a career that they love and their family.
No, it's a really important point. I mean, in bigger practices, there is more scope, you know, to help out, but in sole practitioners, that's a real issue. And it makes me think we should be thinking about networks or something. I don't know. It just sounds so difficult, you know, in a local area, you know, trying to get, there's maybe something there, but big challenge and never bored. Yeah. And advice that you would give yourself when you were younger and starting off?
I'm not sure I'd listen to any advice that I gave myself, but I think I would tell my younger self to really focus on building a network personally and professionally, because you need to learn that you can't do it all on your own. Put the time into that relationships, invest in them, and take interest in the people. Find mentors, but also like find people a couple of steps behind you in your career to be a mentor to, because those are the people that you'll lean on when things get tricky, when you need perspective, or just someone to bounce ideas off of. I mean, I've been lucky to have absolutely brilliant mentors who've backed me, pushed me, and helped silence imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Like, they've got me into roles like examining for a P's on the planning committee, but they've also kept me really grounded with being honest, as a mentor should be, which is good. And I think organisations like the RIAS are so important.
Yeah.
Because they help give us that network. They help give us that chance to support each other, advocate for each other, celebrate the wins. And in every project I say, we're a team, we'll work as a team, we'll celebrate as a team. If something goes wrong, we'll fix it as a team. And I think the same could be said for the architecture profession. Like, we're stronger when we stand together.
I think that's so vital. I mean, we're hearing that our voice in procurement is getting a bit stronger, and I think we underestimate the power of us all as a collective organisation, and that's what I'm really keen that in our new ways of working coming soon, you know, we'll be able to use our voices much more effectively. So and gather more information from members. It's vital. It's good to hear what you're saying. So again, in terms of RIS, it sounds as if you think it's worthwhile. Is there something we should be doing more of?
I personally would like to see kind of more supportive professional networks, both kind of like at a local level and a national level, particularly for young female architects and working mums. But that's just kind of my thing. But I think across all kind of areas we could be doing it, because it can be a really tough profession to navigate, and it's not always easy to see how things like family life and a career can work together, and juggling all that many hats that you've got to wear. So I think having like a social network or a mentoring group where you can share experiences, support each other, and see positive examples, like of kind of like people at one step on in your career, to kind of like encourage you and help you keep on going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's so important. We've started mentoring in some of the schools, but I think there's a bit of work to do in the social grouping. And again, back to what I was saying about, you know, networking, women in the same situations, at least having someone that you know there may be opportunities to help out from time to time or something in the workplace.
I don't even think mentoring stops when you qualify, when you leave school. I think that mentoring should be carried on all through your career.
Absolutely. It's been an absolute pleasure, Katrina. I've really enjoyed speaking to you today. So thank you very much indeed, and look forward to continuing to work with you across all the things that you've been doing.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you.